Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and welcome to another leg in the MD-11 freighter. Today we are going to fly the UPS Flight 3 from Dubai to Cologne, or at least that is one of the many legs that UPS Flight 3 is following pretty much around the world. So let's not lose any time over here and get right into our MD-11 and prepare it to hold 75 tons of cargo from Dubai to Germany. Now, unfortunately, those stairs, GSX by the way, are still somewhat broken here, so we can't really walk it up, so we just gotta imagine that part, and we're entering our MD-11 through the supernumerary area. So, Dubai by Builds, Cologne by Airline, who is still to this day one of my favorite overall developers. Alright, let's take a seat here on the captain's seat of our MD-11 and start preparing it for today's service. The logbook is checked and in a good shape, all the circuit breakers are in, then the transponder is off, the weather radar is off, that's what I meant, fuel switches are all off, parking brake released, spoilers retracted, flaps up, and landing gear lever is down. Then the dump and manifold switches are guarded, and then we can go ahead and turn on those batteries and the external power. Now let's go ahead and have that aircraft boot up. It's 28 degrees outside, so we are definitely going to start the APU for some air conditioning now. So fire test is looking good, and then let's turn on that APU power button. Next up, we'll turn the IRSs 1, 2 and auxiliary to nav, which is also going to do the cargo fire test, and that is looking fantastic. Now, let's go ahead and just turn the brightness of all those displays up a little bit here. So, man, those those fuel switches are somewhat in the way here, but here we go. Okay. So those are all up, then let's go ahead and start with our aircraft. So import the flight plan, set payload and fuel, and with that done we can order GSX to start the cargo loading process here. Can also send the flight plan to the FMC so that we can do our alignment. So we got an MD-11 with a CF6 engine, enough database is up to date at the time of the recording, and we are going from Dubai to Cologne. IRS position looks good, so let's hit initialize IRS. Alright, now that we have all the basics out of the way and now that all our services are ongoing, let's go ahead and start with a little look into our flight plan. As always, we will be using Firefox to view the PDF of the SimBrief plan here. Now this is what it looks like departing Dubai, and then we're heading across Iran, Turkey, the Black Sea, and then through Eastern Europe into Germany. Now the significant weather chart are looking a little turbulent here in the last parts of our crossing of Iran and then Turkey, with part number 2 suggesting moderate turbulence up to level 400. Now in Europe, things are going to be a little bit better than until our descent into Cologne. For our weather, we are departing Dubai with clearly runway 30 in use, 28 degrees, and in Cologne we are looking at light drizzle, probably runway 31 going to be in use here, 31 right. Couple of showers of rain, but the forecast is looking very good. Our first alternate is Stuttgart, which has good weather conditions, and with that in mind, let's head up into the flight plan. Departing Dubai at 0750, we are arriving at 14:35, 15 minutes ahead of schedule in Cologne. Our weights are not critical. We are starting level 320, later on level 340, and then level 360 for today's cruise. Now, we are flying the airplane with the CF6 engines, so we don't need to be worried about that excessive fuel usage that we have in the Pratt & Whitney engines at the moment. So the minimum fuel here is 140,000 freedom units. If we add takeoff plus taxi, the question is, do we need any more than that? And well, not really, so just for the sake of it, I am going to load an additional 2,000 pounds here, so 142,000 pounds, but that's it. Okay, So with that in mind, let's go down into the payload page and just go back over here we want to load the plane by 0 fuel weight, and the 0 fuel weight today is 141.2, or rather 414.2, that's what I wanted to say. And for the fuel, we're taking 142,000 freedom units. Alright, set payload, and here we go. And the plane is now refueled as well. Looking outside, it looks like the first containers are already arriving, so that our loading can commence very shortly. And then we can go right back in and start our cockpit preparation procedure. So starting at the top over here, the flight voice recorder is checked. Down here everything's done. Hydraulic pressure test can commence. And then APU bleed is coming on. Fuel quantity test is looking good. Emergency light on. No smoking signs on. Nav lights on. We'll wait with the seatbelts on until we're actually ready. So GPWS test. Annunciator light test. It's looking good. Fuel used is reset. Then moving down, we got QNH in hectopascals, please, and the current QNH here in Dubai is 1012. Minimums to baro, traffic, data, airport, VORs, and on the other side it's going to be the same thing. Alright, and you can also go to barometric minimum already. So QNH 1012 like that, and we can align that standby horizon. Like this. Alright, auto brake into takeoff. Park and brake is set. We'll do the frequencies. Well, tell you what, why not do them now? And yeah, as mentioned in my other videos flying the MD-11, I'm not too fond with their electronic flight back, so I will be using the I will simply be using the Navigraph app in the default FS24 EFB over here. I kinda do like that better. Okay, flight's loaded, then let's also get that airport chart up, and we can take the daylight version of it, please. Here we go. So, delivery 120.35. Like that. And then we need ground, which is probably going to be GMC2 121.65. Like that. On the other side, 1 to 1.5. And then we can also take that ATIS in the standby already, as we'll need that in a few moments. Okay, ATIS 131.7. Okay. Audio control panel, weather radar remains off for the time being. Transponder into above to Squawk 2000, data is selected, trims are centered. And audio control panel on your side is set as well. Lovely. Then we're done with all that, so let's go ahead and listen to the ATIS before we start the setup of our FMS.
Ability 4. Sky conditions. No significant clouds. Temperature 28. Dew point 10. QNH 1013. Transition level.
Looks like it's 1013 again.
Altitude and traffic services requested. Read Becall runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Foxtrot.
So ATIS Foxtrot. Let me just write that down here already.
Information Foxtrot. 12000. Arriving runway 30 left. Departing runway 30 right. Wind 350.
Okay, so 30 right is in use. Well then, let's get started with our setup. Alternate Stuttgart, our flight is UPS 3, cruising levels 320, 340 and 360. Temperature out there is -35. And the wind component will be an average headwind of 34 knots. Okay, cost index 80. And then departing Dubai, runway 30 right, Devmo, I suppose for Foxtrot departure. Okay, and insert, and then we are looking for the arrival into Cologne. ILS 31 right, and we're coming in from AirNap, so AirNap to Charlie arrival, and I do believe that leads to Kola. Okay, insert. So let's go ahead and have a look at our departure. Devmo for Foxtrot, straight at Delta Bravo 570, minimum 180 knots. Delta Bravo 560, minimum 190 knots. And just to check, yeah, those are exact speed restrictions here, so I am gonna remove them. Both that and that, because the MD-11F FMS apparently doesn't know minimum speed restrictions. Okay, then Delta Bravo 576, maximum 220 above 3000, which we got. Delta Bravo 568 above 4000 feet, we got that as well. And then we continue Kunpi, Obrok, and Devmo above 12,000, which we got in here as well. Okay, initial climb clearance altitude 4000 feet, which we can already pre-select. Here it is, and that's it. Alright, then our flight plan is in here, so let's go ahead and start with our performance information. Zero fuel weight 414.2, like that. Block fuel 142. CGs to be determined. Fuel uplift is already completed, so we don't need to do that. Okay, then let's find the fuel figures. So reserve fuel is 3, or contingency fuel 3.6, final 6.5, and the alternate unfortunately is bugged at the moment, so that we cannot override it. But so be it. Okay, for our takeoff we will do noise abatement procedure 2 with the acceleration in 1500, and the engine out is going to be 1500 as well. Alright, and that's our FMS setup completed for the time being. I just love it when things are that easy. Okay, so we got all that lovely stuff completed, so let's set that runway heading 299, like that, and the speed is to be confirmed anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and call for IFR clearance. Information Foxtrot. Dubai delivery, UPS 3 heavy information Foxtrot, request IFR clearance to Cologne. Alright, they're working on it.
UPS 3, cleared to Cologne via the Devmo 4 Foxtrot departure, then asphalt departure runway 30 right, initial climb to 4000 feet, departure on 121.025, squawk 2473.
UPS 3 Heavy is clear to Cologne via the Devmo 4 Foxtrot departure runway 30 right, climb altitude 4000 feet, departure 121.025, squawk 2473.
UPS 3, read back correct. Contact ground on 118.35.
118.35, UPS 3. Okay, so runway 30 right, Devmo 4 Foxtrot, climbing altitude 4000 and 121.025. Is confirmed, squawk 2473. Okay, lovely. That's everything done. So we have our clearance, then let's go for the departure briefing up next. So we're going to depart Dubai, runway 30 right, Devmo 4 Foxtrot departure, initial climb altitude 4000. The MSA is 3,800, extra fuel and time. We have 2,000 pounds plus contingency, giving us an overall total of approximately 25 minutes. We have no hotspots for our taxi routing, and stop margin for rejected takeoff is plenty. Engine out sits straight at 25 miles, climbing 4,000, which keeps us safe above the MSA of 3,800 feet. Our departure has a couple of altitude restrictions and speed restrictions, the latter of which are probably going to impede our initial climb, so we will keep the flaps, or rather the slats, extended. We can retract the flaps, but have to keep the slats extended most likely. However, we are still going to have to determine that as well. In any case, we will be heavy, so we will request high speed with air traffic control. I've got nothing non-standard, and threats for today's departure, I don't see any, so that's our departure briefing completed. Okay, looking at the status page, they have already closed all the doors, so let's go ahead and remove that external power, please. And then they can start to prepare the airplane for pushback and departure. Loading is completed, I like it. Okay, so services, GPU disconnect, wheel chocks removed, the park and brake is set, and then let's finish up our performance. So 142 is checked, zero fuel weight 141.2 is accurate, then we can accept those center of gravities down there, and then let's do some mathematics here. By the way, why does it say zero fuel weight 400? Is that correct? I can't believe it. So, 414,200. That way around, please. Set. Interesting, it's reducing to 400. Okay, well, in that case, zero fuel weight is going to be 400. Then we're missing a little bit of cargo. They probably just haven't delivered that in time or something like that. That stuff happens in real-world operations all the time, so here we go. Okay then, let's go ahead and do some performance computations. Dubai, 30 right, and I am going to shorten that runway slightly. Let's make that 12,000 foot runway. Gather weather, gather weights, flaps optimum, flags no anti-ice, that's looking good. Calculate. That's a flags temperature of 58 degrees and a flap 17 takeoff. So 58 degrees, flaps 17, slope and wind are negligible, and the temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. And that gives us flap retraction at 185, slat retraction at 236, and for the takeoff speeds 52, 64, 75. Like this. Okay, flap takeoff selector 17. Like this, and here we go. Alright, that's everything done. So, status page is looking good. Fuel is looking good. And then we can go back to the engine page and we're basically ready to go. Alright. So, that's all the basics. Then let's do the cockpit checklist, please. Gear pins removed, pedostatic checked, passenger signs. Now we can turn them on. Gear on, FCP set, speed band, 0 taxi, altimeters, QNH 1013 reading 40, fuel 142,000 pounds, system display status checked, system modes, auto, takeoff data inserted, auto brake, takeoff warning, checked, and flap takeoff selector 17. Cockpit checklist complete. Alright, let's call for pushback. Ground from flight deck. Well, ground from flight deck. Please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed. Roger, then we call you for pushback in a moment. Dubai ground, UPS 3 Heavy, request pushback and startup.
UPS 3, pushback and startup approved. Face southeast.
Pushback and startup approved, facing southeast, UPS 3. B4 start checklist. Cabin secured, mobiles off, engine ignition B, beacon on, system modes, auto, park and brake set, B4 start checklist complete. Okay, ground flight deck. Ground flight deck, the pushback is approved, facing southeast, and the park and brake is now released. Roger, start the push, and you can start the engines at your discretion. Thank you very much, starting in sequence 312, and we'll commence engine 3 start now. Clear 3. Engine 3 start. Fuel flow, EGT. Ooh, lovely A380. Is he doing a low pass, or what is he doing there? Definitely looks interesting. Okay, good start on 3, starting 1. Clear 1. Engine 1 start. And 2. Fuel flow, EGT. Just turning on a couple of those lights, as it is getting rather dark here in the cockpit. Okay, good start on 1, starting 2. And the pushback is complete. Please set your parking brakes. Parking brake set. Fuel flow, EGT. Now, if you're wondering, we are making those calls on the fuel flow and the EGT because we have to have EGT increase within 25 seconds of the fuel flow indication coming up. Alright. Start a cutout, monitor 2, and ground. We have 3 good engine starts. Please prepare the airplane for taxi. I see you with a clear signal on the left hand side, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye. Okay, so there's the ramp agent, and she is holding a pin after start checklist. APU off, anti-ice off, system modes auto, after start checklist complete. Good. UPS 3 Heavy, request taxi.
UPS 3, runway 30 right taxi via Papa Niner, November 12.
Taxi to runway 30 right via Papa Niner, November 12, UPS 3. Alright, so... No. Here we go. So we're standing up here. Papa Niner, November 1-2. So it's straight ahead to the end. Right, left, right. Okay. Parking brake is released. Let's go. So straight ahead for a little while, and then we are basically at the full length already. Good. Taxi procedures. So trim will be 8.7. .8 shall be fine as well.
Ground, Air India 917, taxi to the gate.
Air India 917, taxi to parking via M14B, M14A, hold short of runway 30 right.
Alright, so to review the takeoff briefing, it's a left seat takeoff, runway 30 right, flaps 17, and the sit straight ahead right turn, initial speed restriction 220, we can retract the flaps, we can't retract the slats, and for any emergencies we can proceed straight ahead 25 miles, climbing 4,000, which keeps us safe above the MSA of 3,800. Yeah, I think we talked about everything. Any questions? Nope. Alright, takeoff checklist. And actually, nope, not yet. Flight control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. And the rudder is operating. Okay. Now, takeoff checklist. Flight controls checked, flaps 17, spoilers armed, trim 8.8 units, and EAD checked, takeoff checklist complete.
Pakistan 284 ready to taxi.
Pakistan 284, runway 30 right taxi.
I'll switch over to weather already.
4 Kilo, Lima 44, Micah, M15A.
Runway 30 right taxi via Zulu, Zulu 4 Kilo, Lima 4, Mike, M15.
So, a couple more meters to roll, and then we are at the runway. That little weather station at the end there, that's probably where we have to turn to the right hand side. Ooh, what's just spawning there? Is that blast fences? Interesting. Okay, the first taxiway to the right is Papa 8, the second is Papa 9er, and that's the one that we've been cleared on.
Hazard 11, taxi to parking via M14B, M14A, hold short of runway 30 right, then November 10, Papa 9er. Contact tower on 118.75.
118.75, UPS 3. Oh, hello Airbus, you're not supposed to be there. Yeah, no comment on the Air India. But I like the way that ATC is reacting over here. They strictly follow the rule, not my aircraft, not my problem. Ask a real air traffic controller what that means, and you will get some answers. Okay, so 1875. Can't read a thing here. Come on, switch it. Here we go. Dubai Tower, UPS 3 Heavy, ready for departure.
UPS 3 Heavy, Dubai Tower, runway 30 right, winds 350 at 12, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 30 right, cleared for takeoff, UPS 3 Heavy. Okay, you can have the comms, please. So, TCAS on, radar on, lights on. Like this. Approach area is clear, and that is visually confirmed as well. Okay, are you ready for departure? Alright, so nav is armed, profile is armed, takeoff. Auto thrust, or rather auto flight. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. 80 knots, checked. V1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Auto flight. Because then we can actually go outside and take a couple of nice screenshots. Which I just absolutely love doing whenever I'm departing Dubai.
Contact departure on 121.025.
Switching to departure on 121.025, UPS 3.
Alright, that's 1500.
Dubai departure, UPS 3. Good afternoon, climbing through 500.
Flaps up. Speed checked. Flap 0.
UPS 3 Heavy, Dubai departure, radar contact, climb via the 5th.
Climb via the SID, UPS 3 Heavy.
Okay, so unfortunately no real information about any new altitude, so for now vertical speed, and that's 1000 to go.
UPS 3 contact UAE center on 118.925.
Switching to UAE center on 118.925, UPS 3.
Alright, the engines are limited to climb thrust, then we can cancel that timer over here.
UAE center, UPS 3. Good afternoon, 2500 for 12000.
What is she saying? 12000? Alright, oh that sounds like climb 12000.
Climbing to 12000, UPS 3.
Okay. Climb thrust 12000. Checked. Alright. So this looks to be one of those typical departures where you really don't regret turning the autopilot on early. Alright, we're past the 220 speed restriction, then we can start accelerating. UPS 3, request speed 270. Otherwise we have to maintain 250, which I do not want.
UPS 3, speed 270 not approved.
Okay, slot 0. And here we go. Alright, nice. Then we're now on the climb out, and we can start asking the important questions. AKA, when are we gonna be there? At 14:17, schedule is 14:50, so we are very good to go here. 27.3, and what's the minimum? Something like 15-ish? 18,000. Okay, so we got plenty of fuel, we got plenty of time reserves left. That's wonderful. Then we're now just climbing up to cruising level, and then things are going to settle down for a bit.
06 contact UA center on 119.3.
By the way, in case you're wondering about the route that we are flying, I'm sure many of you know by now that UPS have retired their MD-11s after the accident on takeoff, but there is a very nice database that you can use to have a look at historic flights, and that's edi-gla.co.uk. They have real-world flight plans from the past, many of them, and that is amongst others where I have found the flight plan for today's flight. Alright, passing 10,000, accelerating, lights off, and yeah, it does seem pretty smooth to me, so let's release that supernumerary that we are carrying. And well, then, for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us, and I'll get back to you when we start the approach into Cologne.
approach. Clear TOL transition. Expect the ILS runway 31 right approach into Cologne.
Clear TOL transition. Expect ILS runway 31 right approach into Kaplan. UPS 3 heavy.
Alright, my friends, we're on approach to Cologne, and as you have just heard by our first officer making the readback from ATC, we are expecting the ILS approach runway 31 right over in Cologne. Now, we have just left those clouds behind, so that anti-ice is going back off again, and then we can start having a little chat about the approach. Already cleared down to 3,000 feet, and we just still gotta set that QNH real quickly, and that is 1009R, so set QNH please. Alright, and 1009 is cross-check passing 11,700 now. Checked. Okay, then we can start with the approach briefing, please. So, ANIP to Sierra arrival for the ILS approach runway 31 right out of Cola VOR. MSA 3,800 and the minimum 502. The go around is straight at to 2,000 feet.
Heavy. Cleared for the ILS runway 31 right approach via Cool.
Cleared for the ILS runway 31 right approach via call UPS 3.
Yeah, that thing is called Cola, but apart from that, we are cleared for the ILS, easy. Okay, so yeah, go around straight at 3.2 or 2,000, whichever is later, right to Cola, climbing 5,000, and extra fuel and time. We got 26,400 pounds of gas now, and the minimum should be, well, extra fuel 6.6. So that's not 53 minutes, but yeah, it's fine, about half an hour. So for the approach, we are going to fly flight director guided ILS approach 31 left, flaps 35, and while we're talking about it, let's just reset that dial of flap selected at 15, like this. Okay, for the approach, as mentioned, flaps 35 for the landing, maximum reverse and auto brake minimum, vacate the runway off to the left hand side, nothing special, nothing non-standard. And a little bit of weather in the missed approach sector there, nothing significant. Okay, and that's mostly it. Do you have any questions or suggestions? I take it that's a no. Okay. So that's our approach briefing completed. And then we are already approaching 10,000 over here, so let's turn the signs on. Signs on, lights on, angular bank is an automatic. Anyway, okay. And that's it. Nice. So, completely set up, already cleared for the approach, but we still gotta get a little closer there. India Kilo Echo November is already shown and is confirmed for that runway as well. Oh, look at that, the airport sank by 2 feet compared to when I flew there. Now the minimum is 500. Alright. We can do that. Used to be 502. Alrighty, so I'd say we have pretty much completed everything already. So why not take a moment just to admire that classic trijet. I just really like the look of the MD-11. I don't know, that airplane's won my heart. It might also be because the MD-11 was the first high fidelity airliner that I have flown in my flight simulator career. That was back in the day in FSX when aircraft like the Captain Scan 757, well, back in the day you could call them Captain Sim because they were actually okay. They had systems to a similar level of depth as the TFDI MD-11 does now. So that was actually quite okay. And yeah, back then, the Captain Sim 7.5 and 7.6 were like the go-to aircraft. And well, then the PMDG MD-11 came out for Flight X. Well, and FS 2020. And FS 22. Did I want to say 2024 instead of 2004? damn, that time has flown. In any case, back in the day, the PMDG MD-11 was kind of my first complex airliner. I still remember when I started flying in a club, and a friend of mine whom I still know to this day, he's just starting his first Airbus type rating, which is his first commercial rating ever. And yeah, that guy and me flew that PMDG MD-11 over to Innsbruck and just flew straight in approach down the mountains into runway 08. That was so cool. We landed there, looked at the fuel gauge, and we were like, hey, 300 kilos remaining. We're good. Most efficient. Oh yeah, good old times. Nowadays, well, probably ain't gonna do that, but that was a fun flight. That was really good old times. But I must have been young back then, man. Okay, time flies. I'm gonna spare you those stories. Engine anti-ice on. No ice detected as copied. So yep, I suppose back then the MD-11 just won a special place in my heart. And well, about a year thereafter the PMDG 737 NGX came out, and ever since I was sold. Okay, approach checklist please. System modes. Auto, altimeters, QNH 1009er. Approach checklist complete. So we are cleared for the ILS. 14.6 miles, receiving everything. Land armed. And then we'll let the first officer handle the comms. And we'll do the flying ourselves. So, autopilot off, auto throttle off. Alright, let's start slowing down here, and flap, well, slats extend. Speed check.
UPS 3, contact Cologne Tower on 124.908.
Contacting Cologne Tower on 124.908. UPS 3. Airport Tower, UPS 3. Good afternoon. Established on the ILS runway 31 right approach.
UPS 3 Heavy, Cologne Airport Tower identified.
Alright, at Rarix we are going to start the approach. And with that we are pretty much fully established. I like it. Localizer live. And flaps 15. Speed checked. Flaps 15.
UPS 3
Localizer capture.
60 at 13, runway 31 right, cleared to land.
Runway 31 right, clear to land. UPS 3 Heavy.
Glide stop capture. Go around altitude 5000 set. So, nicely established. That is actually looking pretty good. Lovely approach speed here as well. That's what I really like, that MD-11 So it looks like the showers are right over the airport. Can't really do much about it, but... Okay, runway heading 315 is set. Okay, gear down. Flaps 28. Flaps 35. Speed checked. Flaps 35. Landing checklist. Landing gear down for green, auto brake minimum, spoilers. Okay, let's just focus on that glide slope for a second. Okay, spoilers armed, flaps 35, EAD checked, landing checklist complete. Yeah, not quite, couple of hills here on the approach, but look at that, nicely established. Checked. So, ground speed 140, that means we need about 700 feet a minute rate of descent to maintain the glide slope. So we're on the glide now, let's give it 800 feet a minute.
500, 400,
Looking good.
400, 300, 300, 300.
Yeah, you set that already. Checked. Continue.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay, speed break up, thrust burst normal. 100 knots. 80 knots. Manual brakes. Alright, to vacate into Alpha 4. We'll be parking right down here, Echo 32.
UPS 3, contact ground on 121.73.
Switching to ground on 121.73. UPS 3. Cologne Airport ground, UPS 3. Good afternoon, clear to runway. Ready to taxi to the gate.
UPS 3, Köln-Bonn Airport ground, Moje, taxi to apron E, apron cargo, E44 via Alpha 4, Alpha Bravo, Tango Delta Alpha. Have a great day.
Alpha 4. Bravo, what? No, Alpha 4, Alpha Echo 44.
Echo cargo. Echo
That's
44
it.
via Alpha 4, Alpha Bravo, Tango Delta Alpha. UPS 3.
Okay, so Echo 44, INOP, ramp cargo. Well, I don't agree that it is INOP. We will go there anyway. Handling by Visak. Alright, and there it is. See, it's not INOP. So, nice and slow around the corner. Weather radar is off already. Lovely. So, there's Echo 43, and thereafter is Echo 44. And auto brake disarm is checked. Okay, lights off. Alright, the marshal is inside. Okay. Parking brake set. APU bleed on, and both are confirmed. Alright. 6 hours and 28 minutes. Good. Okay then. Transponder off, parking brake set. Let's get ourselves some services. GPU and trucks please, thank you. We have a handling operator. Okay, no comment on that. Well, so be it. Then let's do the shutdown checklist, please. Exterior lights are set, anti-ice all off. Stabilizer trim, 3 units almost. 2.8, fine with me as well. System display status checked. System modes auto. Spoilers retracted. Flaps and slats up retracted. Fuel switches off. Parking brake set. Weather radar off. Transponder standby. APU air off. Parking checklist complete. Alright my friends, with that, welcome to Cologne. I do hope you enjoyed this flight. Leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.